Hey everyone, welcome back to the range. My name is Matt, also known as the Ammo Nerd and the king of 5.7x28mm, and that's what we have for review today. In full transparency, Liberty Armament sent us over a test batch of this ammunition to review with no strings attached. What is this particular ammunition for review today? It's a 55 grain full metal jacket subsonic. What's unique about it is it's using the Sierra Game King 55 grain full metal jacket, which is known to be the original SB193 load from FN. Let's throw this guy on the table and talk about what we're going to do today. Since this load was designed to mimic our SB193, we're only going to test it out of a couple of our PDW barrel lengths. We're looking for bullet stability, we're looking for our velocity. To be subsonic, we need to be right around under 1130 feet per second or 1125, somewhere around that depending on your elevation. We'll check for accuracy, and then we're going to throw this against some of our level 3A as a barrier test. For any of you that have been here for a long time and have watched any of my videos, I've used SB193 quite a bit in the past, and it has a good ability of poking certain types of materials that are used in our 3A construction. With NIJ level 3A, that is a minimum standard, and no two manufacturer will ever build their panels the same. Some may put more material in, some may put a mixture of two materials, and as long as it stops, 9mm going 1400 feet per second, that's what maintains the NIJ rating. All of these other obscure threats are well outside of the purview of the NIJ. We have our Pro Chronopal Digital DLX as always. It's around 50 to 55 degrees outside today. Up first, we'll grab our 8-inch. This is our CMMG MK57. This uses their proprietary magazines. This particular design is very forgiving for subsonic loads, and I just want to see if it will cycle, as Liberty Armament specifically designed this particular load for our P90. That is very, very quiet. We are under 1,000 feet per second. I would maybe advise we add 1/10 of a grain just to have a little more velocity. But again, this was designed for the P90, so if we get cycling out of that, that could be a moot point. Now we have our 10.4-inch. Again, always make sure these particular loads stabilize in your gun before you throw the can on. We've done that off camera, and as I mentioned, this is a Sierra Game King. We've shot this in the SB193 form in the past, and so we know it stabilizes in our gun. This is our P90 SBR. I got the Holosun AMS up top from the HBI mount and a Turbo T3 up front. I figured while we're out here, we'd see if this particular load would cycle in our FN 5.7. The thing to keep in mind with our 5.7 handguns and subsonics is your suppressor needs to be light, under 6 ounces, and you can't have a really heavy optic on here. This is an RMR, I think it's like 1.2 ounces. So you got to keep the system weight pretty low. See if this cycles. Nope, not going to do it. Given that our M&P has a gas system, I'm curious if we can get cycling on this system versus the other 5.7 pistols. While we're out here reviewing it, we might as well. Nice, we did get cycling off those. That's pretty darn impressive that we did. I did bring one other PDW out. This is our Diamondback DBX. We have the last of this batch loaded up. I have the gas setting on 2. Got the JK Armament rimfire kit up front. Looks like we might need a little more gas. Gas has been changed to 4. Almost. Trying. Here's our 55 grain Sierra Game Kings from Liberty Armament. Our CMMG 0.738 inches at 25 yards. We have the Turbo T3 on there and a 6-power optic. Our P90 with our Holosun AEMS 1.355 inches. Those were all very close, and we had one little guy that went down there. Now it's time to see if this load lives up to that special magic I mentioned in our post. We're trying to gauge some interest for this load. I have our clear ballistics gel blocks down below, a 6x6x16, and in front of it we have Tactical Scorpion Gears level 3A aramid panel. It's 100% aramid through and through. We'll take a shot out of our P90 against that barrier, and then we have some harder and more robust 3A to try after that. Here was our shot right here. That is far enough away from that one I would consider it a fair hit. And it's no surprise this type of material, for whatever reason, failed against our SB193 clone. You can see we have a little over 9 inches of penetration, and then the bullet actually veers off to the right and leaves the block. And I see there's a little mark right there from it. Typically it doesn't expand over, it just keeps its shape. So there's something with the jacket thickness and maybe the lead density that Sierra uses with that bullet that makes it do magic things at subsonic velocities. Let's see how it does against our harder 3A. We've stepped up the performance of our 3A. This is an E-glass 3A, more of a rigid panel. This is quite often what a lot of manufacturers will use for backing material in their level 4 composites. It does really good at controlling back face, but not so much at stopping anything that makes it through the ceramic. Easy enough. Here was our shot right there. Place those bets in the comments below. Normally when there's no slow-mo, it means the Armor 1. No pass-through. Very, very interesting. Let's go to the polyethylene, which I thought would be the hardest for it, and see how that does. For our final panel, we have some ultra-high molecular weight polyethylene. That is a very common material used again in composites for hard armor with ceramic strike faces, and in a lot of 3A flexible and rigid. This is a rigid panel. Here is our shot right here. And again, no pass-through. So it looks like our SB193 may be limited in penetration to our soft, flexible 3A panels, and our rigid panels just have enough construction that it's causing that jacket and core to mushroom out and get stopped. Now we have 2 AR500 Armor R.A.N.G.E level 3A panels. They are 100% Kevlar or aramid through and through. Used to be their budget line. I'm not sure what model number these are, but they are pretty decent at stopping threats. On our AR500 R.A.N.G.E, there was our shot right there. There was our pass through, and ooh, still passing through, folks. You can see that I included slow-mo. So our bullet is right up here, kind of hard to see. I'm just using some used blocks here. Our penetration depths are right out to around the 12-inch mark with the base forward. Now again, this is not ideal wounding in 5.7. This is a severe compromise, but if you need a subsonic cycling load that will get to 12 inches after passing through a level 3A vest, now there's never a guarantee what the adversary is wearing. You're going to put multiple rounds on range, but SB193 can do it in the original 55 grain full metal jacket load, and the newer 60 grain loading is a little better. We'll dig that out of there, but the bullet is right there. Well, folks, there you have it. That concludes another test out here at the range. We had good function in our P90. We had pretty decent function in the CMMG MK57, although Liberty Armament specifically had this loaded for our 10.4-inch P90. I would like to see maybe 50 feet per second more out of this load, although when we tested it right around 50 degrees, once we get up to about 75 or 80, we could gain another 30 to 45 feet per second because of that heat. We had good accuracy and our bullet was stable in both platforms that we shot it at a distance. As far as our armor penetration goes with our SB193 clone, it seems we're still able to live up to those original claims of being able to defeat lower classes of level 3 aramid and sometimes even multiple panels of that. Our newer technology, polyethylene, though, seems to prove a problem for this particular bullet design. That could be why FN updated it to the 60 grain version with a bimetal jacket, making that jacket harder to deform when it hits those panels, makes it more likely to penetrate. Although, as I mentioned, if you're going up against an adversary, you don't know what kind of armor they're wearing, if they're wearing any at all, so you're taking a chance with this. And again, this is more of a niche loading, but if this is what you're looking for, hopefully Liberty Armament will be able to supply some for you without going through all the hoops of buying SB193 from FN on Gunbroker. With all that being said, it's time for me to get the heck out of here, but at the end of all my videos, I take a moment to thank all those who help make these possible, because there's a lot that goes into them. Number one is my family who comes out here and helps me. Number two is my Patreon subscribe star and YouTube channel memberships. I have a link tree in the description below with various different ways to either contact me if you have any questions or support the channel. As I mentioned, I have a discount code through Tactical Scorpion Gear, that is R.A.N.G.E, and that saves you, I think, 10 to 15%. It kicks back some my way, so I buy panels with it or I buy specialty ammo to do some of our testing. Number three is the fine folks over at Liberty Armament. Again, they sent us that test load to review with no strings attached. If you have any interest in purchasing this load yourself, leave a comment below and they're kind of going to look over the video and gauge interest in having a lot of this produced. And of course, number four is you all for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you at the range.